man of the hour today, so we're just gonna fire some questions at you. Whereabouts are you based, Dietrich?
Kia ora kouroua. Yeah, it's a privilege to have this conversation with you guys, and also massive kia ora koutou to everybody and anybody who's watching. So at the moment, I am based in Ōtautahi, in Aranui, so Christchurch, on the east side of Christchurch, Aranui. I've always had an interest. I don't know if I'd say passion. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's that strong. Definitely a deep interest in leadership and the next generation. And I just really admired the kaupapa of being able to hold a space where you could hear from some of our country's political leaders, business leaders, and actually just hear their heart.
Yeah,
that was something that I just was like, oh my goodness, that is gold. What a beautiful opportunity to be able to listen in to the why behind the what, to hear the heartbeat rather than seeing the hands all the time, metaphorically speaking.
And because we ask so much about the person behind the leader or whatever mahi or kaupapa that people are involved in, can you tell us a little bit about what your heart is involved with at the moment? I know that you've had a move to Ōtautahi recently. Can you tell us a little bit about that for you at the moment?
Oh gosh, again, since we're being honest, I have been in a real liminal space. I'd moved down here. I don't know if this has been your experience or people who are listening, their experience, but often I'm the kind of person that I have a sense of what's happening. Like I would have a sense of what the way forward is. I wouldn't say I'm calculated, but I'm not exactly impulsive either with big decisions. So I had an idea, and then it's been completely flipped upside down, inside out, and I'm in a real liminal space. Maybe that's a flash way of saying I'm unemployed. No, I am currently, I'm self-employed. I've gone and started my own business, and goodness gracious, that's taken so many turns. And I guess for me, this will sound however it sounds, but I don't want money to be my motivation for anything. I honestly, I would love to get to a place where money doesn't have such a strong hold or say or influence in the decision-making process. And so by just, I don't know whether you want to call it serendipity or the grace of God, whatever you believe in, however you want to language it, I've found myself in a really spacious space where the needs of the world aren't pounding on my door, so to speak, where I have the space to really inquire as to what the way forward is for myself. And, my wife, Hannah, is very much in that conversation as well. It's not some kind of, I'm the man of the house, because if you met my wife, you'd actually know who the man is. So at the moment, I'm in that sort of spacious place, but there's something about wanting to help people, to serve, to be of service to people. And I've been working as a youth worker, and I've been in the community for 15, 16 odd years. I've done it for a while. And I got to a point this year where I was like, it feels, and this is no diss to anyone else who serves in sort of human resourcing, but I kind of felt like I don't want to serve people and be paid for it. Like, it kind of takes away the sincerity of the matter. It monetizes it in a way that it's no longer about the love or my compassion. Like, imagine this. Imagine if the only time I help someone is if they are able to pay me.
Yeah,
Wow.
I just want to honor you for your honesty, but also for doing that. Like, that's huge, to sit in that space and to really be true to the integrity of who you are.
For a lot of us, we will have experienced over the last couple of months the whole kind of halt on our plans with COVID-19 and with lockdown, and it's a global pandemic that has kind of come and disrupted our flow. But when things don't go according to plan, how do you deal with that? And you kind of did touch on that earlier with the kind of sense of moving down to where you are now and not necessarily landing where you want it to be. But could you unpack that a little bit for us?
Yeah, I think one thing that I am increasingly becoming aware of is that, at least in my own lived experience, life is not linear and it's not black and white. It's filled with a whole lot of gray. And sometimes people are just a decision away from living in poverty, or they are a decision away to hitting the bend, the turn in the corner. And so what I'm trying to learn or practice is not rushing for certainty. That obviously comes from a place and a position of privilege. So with all of that sort of said, with the foundation kind of laid, so you know where I'm coming from, I'm trying to be okay with not rushing and not rushing for certainty or the first thing that looks good. Like I said, I felt to start a business, I think it was about 2 weeks before COVID hit. And then I was like, what the heck am I up to? What in the world is that? But that's just what I felt to do. And, you know, my wife and I had like some big conversations about that. Now, fast forward to where we currently are, and that business idea has taken many iterations, iterations. And I've had some incredibly wise, and again, I'm a privileged man. I've got some incredibly wise, smart, business savvy friends who have made themselves available to speak into my situation, that I can glean from, that I can figure out. So I guess you can also maybe hear in what I'm saying that I don't do this alone. So that I have a community around me who, they are a part of my community, I'm a part of theirs. And yeah, so just to kind of give this some pointiness, like some kind of point, I think for me, the idea, there is a deep-seated trust that there is a plan and a thing that is conspiring or moving towards, and I'm just trying to follow the crumbs, looking for signs, but very much trying to be honest, like with myself and with my wife, honest with my context, as honest as I can, because look, the truth of the matter is that if I were to run for certainty, I guarantee you I'd be able to find a job pretty easily. And I don't say that in like, oh, I'm the man. I'm just saying, like, there's jobs out there, but it's not about the jobs, because it's not about the money. It's about doing the thing or at least having the space to be able to articulate as to what that thing is, and committing my life to that process.
You talked about the fact that you were following like almost like the proverbial breadcrumbs, and I want to pick up on the fact that actually in this process you are not passive, that you've surrounded yourself with wisdom, you've surrounded yourself with space, in order to be able to find that which is ahead of you, and you're doing your part. I think sometimes in life we sit back and we go, good things should come to me, and especially when we talk about that concept of privilege, which is a word that we're hearing a lot recently. It's my right to inhabit the spaces that I inhabit, and it's, good things should come to me because I am me. But I love the fact that you are active in your pursuit of the next thing, that you're willing to pivot and to change and to allow it to hit you in places where it costs you something, if not everything. And that's quite brave. And I just, I want to say to our listeners, as they're listening to you and listening to this conversation, that it's not a bad thing to find yourself in transition periods, but it's what you do with them and how you allow them to shape your next. And when things do go wrong, and they will, what do you do with that? And how you kind of build your resilience. And we hear a lot about building your resilience at this time, but it's where you can actually effectively make a withdrawal from that resilience bank that you've built. You talk about being surrounded by people of wisdom, but you are a person that carries immense wisdom yourself, and I believe that you have something that that you can deposit into people as we kind of draw to a close.
But I just wrote this poem, and I'm just gonna read it, and hopefully it makes sense. Hopefully it resonates. Here it is. I was going to put this as my Facebook status, but didn't. Today, I packed away my parade I had made, wanted to set it ablaze in the middle of the street. But then I was hunting. Instead, I turned off my cell phone and did it in silence, pulled it apart, put it to rest. It took me a really long time to make it, though. It was impressive. Big platform on the back of a red 16-wheeler Mack truck, Optimus Prime, but real lifelike. It played music that had hundreds of strangers reacting to the beat, dancing in cyber streets. It had 4,015 grills in tow, feeding whoever wanted something to eat. Made sure the lighting was just right. I cooked up all the things people love, hearted, and liked, so I made sure to build up your appetite. I had a kingdom of inspirational quotes, a throne that made sure you saw how caring and empathetic my nature is. This was decorating the front of my float, a rainbow of bold vulnerabilities, stained glass stories of my saint-like works. It was closely followed by albums of self-improvement and self-love, because I wanted other people to feel encouraged to love themselves, because I was trying to love myself. I wanted you to love me. I remember the first time seeing the parade. I wanted to feel the way I imagined they felt, being up there, being seen and adored. I was just another number in the crowd. I wanted to be called out like bingo, like that number that wins the lotto. So I made my own online presence known. 11 years of consistent blind building was undone with a brown bear hug by the most powerful man I knew, whose heart had room for an entire family forest. I remember looking up to his squinting eyes and feeling his gentle heart. I saw 4-year-old me reflected in his pupils. A father's love shone through a simple greeting. I began to see it. The taonga of Turangi, I called him. It was the repetitive offers and made cups of tea, always on his feet, making sure people like me were comfy, when meanwhile housing ex-cons and local royalty. But you'd never know unless you were at his table having a feed. the safe, gentle space that was held for me, to let me see my shame in light of their compassion and understanding. The uniform of tea towel flung over their shoulder, cupboards flowing, got a brother feeling like hundreds of dandelions carried over a deep blue still lake and rich green fields. I packed my parade away and felt the ground beneath me. The cold concrete could lead me back home. I traded my parade and emptied my pockets of Trump towering, swapped it for a tea towel and a full heart, and I hope I can do the same tomorrow.
And so thank you so much for your time and for your wisdom, and for sharing that poem with us. We're just incredibly honored to have you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time.